So, welcome back to another video. This is a slightly different style. I haven't got many videos from the individual trips, so I thought I'd just put it all together and make a mashup. This was at the start of November, mid-November. 2 French Cups that I did with the team in Quelneuc. I think that's how you say it. You probably say it like Kortijk. I don't know. It's French. The French are just absolutely mental. Like, they would literally rather 10 people end up in hospital because they do like a crazy move, then they'd be overtaken. So that was quite interesting. I started 70th, even though I should have started 15th because of UCI points. But apparently, well, the commissaires made a mistake. I wasn't on the start list somehow. So I started very far back, but I had a good race. I moved up to 28th out of about 126. It's kind of crazy, like, everyone in France is good, but they only race in France. Like, if the top 30 of one of these races went to Belgium, it would literally be like half French in the front of the races. So interesting, but yeah, they're all very good, all very aggressive as well. It was quite fun. I felt at home. I could just shoulder barge. I got grabbed a few times with hands. I pushed a few people with my arms, my elbows. It was good. And the pits were just, I think the commissaires were just there to just have a little look at what was going on, just to enjoy it, because people were stood in the middle of the pit, like, just watching the race. I was going in the pit lane. I was swerving the barriers because people were everywhere, and there were 7 jet washers for like 120 riders, so most of the time you could only pit once every 1.5, 2 laps. But it was such a fun race, like moving up lots. Everyone was aggressive. The course was great. I definitely recommend the French Cups because they're not, like, they're just a bit crazy. They're just very fun and good experience as well, because if you can race here, then you can race anywhere, because it was just absolutely mental. So yeah, 28, I think I was 7th or 8th first year. Don't quote me on that. That's just on memory. I might be further back or something. I can't remember. But literally ruts everywhere, a lot of running. And then look at this. This is on a course that is, I'd say, about as hard as Clanfield. In Clanfield in the UK, there were gaps of like 30 seconds between the riders, maybe a bit less. But this is the last lap of an impossible course where you would usually be spread out. And I'm in like a group of 15. You can literally see how many people there are. It's just crazy. Like, one mistake and you've lost 10 positions. It's literally mental. But that was quite a long run. My running was actually quite good. Well, I was good or they were bad, I'm not sure, but I was like majority faster. So yeah, 28, that was good. Then the next day, I got some nice new shoes from City, so thank you for that, City. And then this was the second day. There was a huge crash off the start. Well, here you can see the crash, and then you'll see the position I was in, which was not ideal. But I didn't get down. I stayed up, but then about a minute later, I went flying over the handlebars because I tried to overtake someone. He came down into me. I bent my handlebars, and I pitted, but Dad didn't hear that my handlebars were bent. So I did about half the race on a bike with very bent handlebars. It was my fault. Like, I should have shouted a bit louder because there were about 1 million people in the pits. So I'm just all over the place here. I can barely stay in the rut. And I tried to fix it. It just made it worse. And to be honest, well, here you can see, and I shouted to Dad just to make sure that he knew. But just not a very good race. 68th. Forget about that one. Not forget. I've done my notes and everything, but like, don't want to remember this. This is Bradford National. It was a very good race. I started 2nd row, 9th. I don't know. Oh yeah, it was my first time in 2nd row for ages, and I was like, oh, pick Luke's wheel, of course. But out of any course, this was the one that mattered the least, because you can see we're literally running already. It wasn't just running. This is just all I have the videos of. But I was in 5th. You can see I've had a very big crash. My mum is very muddy. So I crashed twice on the same corner, which was impressive. I was in 4th fighting with my friend Noah, but just fumbled under the pressure of almost beating Noah White, and I just kept crashing. But 5th in the end, I was happy with that. My first good national since Derby, or decent. Oh, this is quick, this is hard. And then we're in Kortijk. I'm trying to ride the sand, which was rideable, but there was no rut on that corner. And in the end, I just thought, I'll just run it, because I knew in the race there would be no ruts to ride, so it would just be a bit of a risk for nothing, just only for photos, really. This was the off-camp. This was probably the most technical section of the course. Not the most interesting course, but it made for some good racing. It's a bit like Derby. Like, it's a good course. It's a fun course, but there's not really any decisive sections where you could make a difference. So it just ends up for some big group racing. Here are the pits, and then I was gridded. I think I was gridded 10th or 13th, something like that. Second row. The guy in front of me just didn't start. I don't know what he was doing. But I was, this guy, he did good at Hope Supercross. I'd be on his wheel, and he just must have had his eyes closed or something. So I had a rubbish start. I was about 25th. But I made it up well. This was my group, and you can see there. Now, so there's a big group of about 7 off the front, maybe 8. And my group, I'm leading the second group, so I'm in 8th or 9th. And I'm just desperately trying to close it, but I never managed to close it. Just held the gap about 15 seconds for about 2 laps, and it started to go out when I started to think should be a bit more tactical about this one. And then me and one Canadian guy were on the front for most of it. And then I remember one time we had a gap. I was on his wheel. I was like, go. Just wanted to try and get away from this massive group. It was because there was no. You get a small gap, but then you've just got a long straight, and they're right on your like this. They're right on your wheel. There's the Canadian guy on the front. I was like, but yeah, for me, the first 3 or 4 laps, it was us on the front mostly. And then we headed into the hurdles. This is my Taylor Clocks video. I've got loads more, but I don't want to get copyrighted, but I had to include this. I hopped the hurdles, double dive bomb. That just has to be in the video. That was my second best move of the race. Because the hurdles were like really muddy for some reason. They must put water there because the rest of the course was bone dry, but I didn't. There was one other guy hopping that I know of. But it wasn't that much of an advantage. It was just energy saving, and so that my cleats didn't get all muddy and sandy, because then it just becomes impossible to clip in, especially after the sand here. So that's the longest run. You can see there's literally a peloton on the wheel. It's just like, please can someone just be dropped or just cause a split. And then this is just after the run up. You can see the group is kind of split, but it just gets to a long straight and everyone gets together again. Yeah, so there you can see there's a split, but just gets to this long straight, and then and then everyone just gets straight back on the wheel. So super difficult. This was the main off camera. The low line was much faster. On the first lap I overtook 4 people on it, and I was going to go for Jack, but then I thought, actually, I'm friends with Jack. I don't want him to hate me. I'm not going to drop him. So I was being polite, and I also just wanted to wheel suck. So back on the bike over this bridge. This bridge just braked late. Like, I overtook so many people just by braking late. People seemed to like think they had rim brakes or something. I was literally getting like 2 or 3 free overtakes every bridge, every downhill, because they just weren't really. People just seemed a bit shy on the brakes, and dive bombing Belgians is one of my favourite things to do because they just want to get you back. See, here's just off the bridge. I led there because I just wanted to lead. This is the sprint finish. That is a sprint finish for 9th, for 10th and 11th, I think. This is for 12th. The Canadian guy I've been battling all race. But yeah, I could not get round him. I was going as high as I could, but I was just on his wheel, not coming off it. So that's that. 13th, pretty decent, happy with that. And then Namur, the race I've been most looking forward to. I've literally watched every single video there is to watch about this course. I was like, yes, this is going to be amazing. And it was. Had a good start. I was in 5th. At the end of the first lap, I was in 4th. I was on like some guy who got Jari van Lee, who got 2nd at World Cup. I was on his wheel. I was like, wow, what is happening? And I'm in a good group there. I think one of them was Belgian champ. One of them won Mol when I got like 30th. So I was like, okay, I'm in good company here. This is good. These people are all pretty good as well. The blue guy got 2nd. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to win. And then I had a mechanical. I had to run half a lap when I was in 7th. Got back to my good bike. Got back on. I was in 22nd when I got my bike. And I managed to get back to 15th. So I was pretty gutted, but I kept my head up. Just stayed racing as hard as I could. Did what I could. Got back to 15th. But when I crossed the line, I just thought, oh well that could have been 7th. Belgian UCI is a first year, but oh well, that's just part of the sport, isn't it? So got to accept it. Hope you enjoyed watching a different kind of format, and yeah, that's it.